Hi everyone, this is Lisbeth Stall, Cottage Caboodle. I am excited to paint with you today. We're going to be doing some really fun little cardinals, and they're new, they're fun, they're cute, and who doesn't like a great cardinal for the holidays? And I think that you know me, I like to be prepared, and I want to have, some things in the works, and so that's why I do Christmas all year round. So I'm going to get our stuff going here while we're getting ready for being shared out into the Craft Round the Clock group. And I want to also share us to the group. So let me do my stuff right now, and that way we don't have to worry about it. So I don't know how I did that, but I managed to bonk myself out. Hi, Cheryl. And Cheryl, the Cheryls are first today. So thanks for being here. I so appreciate you. Now let's see. Let me see. Let's go here. And then we're going to, there we are. Let's share it to the Caboodle Doodles page. If you do not know what Caboodle Doodles are, it is my little group that does some really fun projects that are great for any painter at all. So that's what those are all about. Hi, Jane. Your front porch. Hello, hello. Remind me of your name, friend. I am so sorry. I am horrible with remembering names. Just horrible. I wish I was better. Do you ever have one thing that you wish you could do a whole lot better than what you do? For me, it's remembering names. I would love it if I could remember all the names. Hello, Tracy. Thank you, friend. I appreciate it. We are going to get started. That's our go sign. So we're in the Craft Round the Clock group. So welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm Lisbeth Stall. I love to create with paint. And today we're going to be working on a cute little set of cardinals that they have so many uses, and we'll talk about those as I'm creating them. I saw them and I couldn't help myself. I thought, today's the day. Today's the day. Hi, Teresa. Well, I love that you're here. Hello. Oh, Stacy. Oh my goodness, Stacy, when am I going to make that connection? Good grief. I've asked you like 400 times, it feels like. Welcome, friend. I hope to see you soon. So we're going to be working on these today, and it never fails that we get spam. Oh, I'm so sorry. And I didn't grab the phone. So we have a regular landline for various reasons, but anyway, so I apologize. So we're going to be doing these cute little cardinals. They're wood, and there's one that stands. Is he not the cutest? He's 8 inches tall and 4 inches wide. And then he has his little friend who's 6 inches tall. And they're just as cute as they can be. They'd be darling in a tablescape, just setting around. Perfect for that little spot that just needs a little something special. So, oh, you're welcome to be on your business page. That is no problem ever with me. Never, ever. So, sorry. So we're going to be working on these, and I'm going to turn my camera down because we can get started and work on some little cuties. Let's see, let's go here, and then we want to have here. So I feel like I at least am seeing you. Hello. So I've got my cardboard all ready with my painter's tape, and this painter's tape is going to help this all these little parts and pieces stay put together, or stay together. And there you'll get, if you wanted these, you can go to my website, which is lisbethstall.com, and they are $10 for both of them. So you get 2 pieces, full pieces, but there's a lot of little parts and pieces. So we're going to walk through that. Hi, Martha. Welcome. So we've got this little sitter, the short guy. He's got 2 layers to his body just to make him so he doesn't tip over too easily. So I don't know if you can see that. But then on the taller one, it's only one. So when you get the package, you're going to see 3 bodies. 2 will have faces etched, and 1 will be a plain body. So we're going to put these down here because we know that all of those are going to want to be red. And I am someone who likes to have all my things painted on the back side too. So I've put this one down since I've got the red out. I might as well. So we've also got 4 little wings that are going to go and be red. And I'm turning them over because I want the least amount of little shadow on there. See that shadow from the laser cutter? I want as little as possible so that it doesn't come through. It doesn't really harm anything, but it just, sometimes it will come through, and I don't want that. Where's my other wing? There it is. There it is. So, and there I go talking about it, and I put them the wrong way. Welcome to my world. Oh, you guys, the struggle. So, we've also got some little tails that we want the same way, and all of that will be red. And then I've got another little piece of holly. These 2 little pieces of dowel, these are the legs, and they're going to match the feet. So we've got 4 feet, 2 have holes, and 2 do not. And the 2 that have holes go with the legs, the leg parts. And they fit really, really snug, which I prefer over having them sloppy. So that is where those are. I'm going to move this one up a little bit. There we go. And then we've got some other little various parts and pieces. There's a little U shape. That U shape is going to be what the little dowels sit in the back. A kind of a critical piece because they really do hold things together. And then we've got our little berries. I'm going to show you the little holly berries. I'm going to show you a couple of ways to really embellish these with some different kinds of embellishments. I love any kind of embellishment. So it's all part of it. Hi, Barb. Hi, Denise. Thank you. Thank you. Hi. Oh, Cheryl, you're the best. Thank you. She dropped the link to my website in the comments. So if you're interested, that's where they're at. And again, for both sets, all of these pieces, it's $10. So, you know, this is one of those things that if you're looking to put something like with a candle or a tablescape, if you're setting up a buffet, these would be darling, just anywhere. They go with a lot of stuff. I'm going to be using, I always use DecoArt paints, and I'm going to be using Santa Red for my red. And I'm going to get a little out of that. Hi, Anita. Welcome. Hi, Pat. Pat from Maine. Very good. I hope, who's got the storms today? Who's got storms going on? I know that there's storms all over. We have a beautiful sunshiny day. It's not too hot. It's just right. And yeah, so I'm going to get a little makeup sponge, and I'm just going to put a coat of red on here. Now, red is a very, very transparent color. And sometimes I will undercoat it, and I'll use funny different colors. Sometimes I'll use a green, sometimes I'll use a brown, sometimes like now I won't do it at all. I can go up onto that black mask though, because the black covers real well. But when you're using red on something like this, where it doesn't have grain especially, it is, it's okay to have that sheer transparent color. So it's not a crisis if you've got that going on. So I'm just going to give those a quick little scooch of paint. Now, I'm one of those people who also likes a second coat because I think it deepens the color and just makes them look nicer. I think sometimes the single coat is it gets a little bit wimpy. You can see through it kind of. And so you'll see me probably do a second coat. And these you could embellish in a lot of different ways. You could add patterns to them. You could shade them. You could highlight them. You could, you know, add patterns to the pieces like stripes or plaids. You could add polka dots. I'm a silly fool for polka dots. So, hi Anita, you have them in Alabama. I talked to a friend today in Florida that's says she thinks that they're never going to stop raining there. I'm from Washington State, and so the opposite side of the world is all that right now, or it feels like it anyway. It feels like it. So I've been painting a long time. I adore it, and I came to be doing this when I decided I was a school teacher. I taught 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade. I was an instructional coach at an elementary school and decided to pursue this. And in fact, I said I was going to choose me this time. And so I get to do this every single day with all of you, and I couldn't be happier. It really is a great community to do all these fun things with. So, hi Leslie. I do have new cardinals. I was sneaking them in. If you're just coming in, oh my goodness, they're super cute. There's a tall one that's 8 inches tall. And then there's a shorter one that's 6 inches tall. They're about 4 inches wide. And they're on the website and ready to go. So that's what we've got. That's what we're going to work on today. So I've got all that red, an initial base coat done. I'm going to hold this one up to the camera just a little bit. And that one that doesn't have the etching on it, can you see how, well, the one in the middle too, you can kind of see through it. So we want to make sure that we give it a second coat just to deepen that color and make it look, you know, really finished. And we want that color to be nice and rich and you know, full. I'm trying to get, there we go. And so now I'm going to, on the original ones that I did, on the beak and the feet, I used Sunset Gold, and I'm not super excited about it, so I thought I'd try a different color. So I'm going to start with Honey Brown, which is a little bit more brown. It's more of an ochre color, like you know, the pink color, like ochre, true ochre or yellow ochre, not like okra that you eat or that some people eat. So I'm going to do the feet with that, and I'm not done with these. I know you're going to say, oh my goodness, those are brown. I don't know if I like those, but I'm going to start with this, and then I'll just give a hint of that Sunset Gold. I just want to see if I like it better. Yes, thank you, Cheryl. Make sure that you join Caboodle Doodles, and that's just a free group I have. I teach all kinds of painting. I teach from the beginner to the very experienced painter and everyone in between. And sometimes, you know, the experienced painters like to do something simple, and so there's no requirements for any of it. But I have a group called Caboodle Doodles, and it's just fun things. There's videos and instructions that are easily accessible, and make sure that you join. And I would love it if you like what you see, if you would follow me. That way, you know, we're all going to get better together and get to know one another. The other things that I have a lettering group. I love to letter with paint, and we have a great group of people that letter with me every single Wednesday. And then on Mondays, we have Sparkle and Shine. And Sparkle and Shine was kind of the founding thing. It is a subscription group, and it's 10 weeks long, so 3 months. It goes over 3 months, 6 projects, 10 classes, and it's more of the detailed, finer nuances of painting. So we highlight and we shade and we do all kinds of things in there. So, you know, to do that aren't just painting like with sponges. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit more serious. If you have always wanted to do a little bit more, that's the place. And we'll be opening that up here very soon. Because a new session will be starting in October. And we have a great time in there, and a lot of people come in early and socialize and stuff, and it's a great group. So okay, so there you know about me. Alrighty. I usually use DecoArt Americana paints and supplies. Sometimes I'll use something else. It's just what I'm familiar with. I've had a great relationship with them for many years and continue to have that. And so they've supported me. So I feel like I should support, you know, it's a mutual thing, right? So I'm going to call it good after this little coat of paint. And it looks pretty good. Then I can go on to do another coat of this honey brown. This is such a great color. If you wanted to put it underneath a red, this is a great color to put under a red because it will keep it nice and warm, and it will help that red to cover. But there's other colors too that do that. Now when you're doing the little legs, be very careful that you don't put too much paint on the ends because you do not want to get them thicker than what they already are. So it's more like a stain maybe that I'm kind of rubbing on there. I just want them to still fit in this little slot and in the feet, so where the holes are. So that's something that I'm thinking of as I'm doing this, is not to get too carried away with the paint. And there we go. So try not to get any ridges or bumps. Now, if you get a ridge or a bump, it's not a tragedy. Just take a little piece of sandpaper and, you know, thin it down a little bit. So it's not a big problem. Okay. So now I feel like we should do our green again. This is New Leaf Green. It is one of the new colors. And if you know DecoArt paints, it's very similar to Hauser Medium with a little bit of a modern twist. It's just a little bit brighter. And in my opinion, we needed a green like that. We were short on that in the line, so I was glad to see that. So I'm going to get out a little bit of lamp black, and I'm going to base coat those faces. This time I'm going to be using a brush because it just is easier. When I base coat, I am trying to look for the absolute smoothest coat of coverage that I can possibly get. And I like to use a number 8 filbert, and the reason I do is because it's like the best of both worlds. It's got a rounded tip just like a round brush, but it's also flat like a flat brush. So it's like the best possible combo for getting a nice smooth base coat. And when I start my base coat, I start in the center of the area I want to base coat because I want my juiciest part of, you know, of my brush when it's freshly loaded to be in that central area, so I don't flood and get a messy line. As I, you know, if I just went straight to that outer line, I might get a little ridge, or what I call a curb. You know, it's just a little bump there that kind of messes you up. And so if you start in the middle, that way if you have extra paint, you'll get rid of it. And then I want that nice and smooth. And so I'm just gonna, now if you get a little whoopsie or, you know, something, you can always, you know, clean it up. But I'm going to do both of these little faces on the lower edge, and then I will turn them around. So, anyone have big plans for this weekend? The Labor Day weekend? Both in Canada and the US. So, it's what, once a year that we have a holiday that matches each other. So, we are going to a friend's place. He's got 10 acres on a lake here locally, and friends go, and we go every Labor Day and every Memorial Day, and it's supposed to be nice this weekend, and there's always lots of laughs and all of the things that go with it. And food, oh my goodness, we all bring way too much food. And yeah, so I'm gonna now flip this around. I like to be pulling the paint toward me. It's just a habit, and I have more control. So when I'm doing an edge, if I can, I flip my board or whatever I'm painting so that I can pull that line towards me. I have more control over it, and I don't have to struggle or contort to get it, you know, covered. So, and I don't have a ton of paint on my brush. I'll show you how I load my brush, because a lot of people will paint and they just dip their brush into the puddle of paint. And that certainly, without a doubt, gets the job done. No question about it. However, there's a better way that will help you get better results. And so I'll show you that in just a sec. Let me finish this guy up. I see a little part I missed before, and we'll let that dry. We'll let that dry. So when I load my brush, first of all, it takes water to make paint move. And so without water, your paint is going to stick, and it's going to get, it's going to hang up. This is just because my water is now dirty, but it's okay. So there, I've got clean water. I usually have some droplets of water on my palette, just because if I need to pick up a little bit, that's what I do. And then I can even spread them out finer so that I have little droplets to pick up. Usually there's a paper towel there too. But I get my brush damp, and then I touch it to my paper towel, and you can see these little puddle areas that are pulled off to the side. When I load my brush, I'm going to start at the edge, and I'm going to flip my brush, and that's called loading your brush. When your brush is loaded rather than dipped, you should see the texture of the bristles through the load of paint. And I know that it's hard to see on here. Maybe we'll try a different color. But if I just went like this, what happens is I've got a big glob of paint at the end. And when I go and try and make it smooth, see those ridges in the paint? That's going to give you an uneven coverage. And that's what we struggle with. So when we see all that texture, and so when we go to dry brush, when we go to shade, when we go to highlight, when we go to add detail or something, we've got those ridges, and that's really what's going to cause us a bunch of grief. Oh, thank you, Leslie. It just depends, Barb. You could, if you've got a varnish that is something that can be wiped on, like Sure Touch, what is it called? Soft Touch, that can be wiped on. So it just depends on your varnish. Usually I will varnish them ahead of time. That's the easiest, I think, but I don't always do that, because when I demo them, I'm not going to make you watch varnish dry, right? Hi, Valerie. Leslie says, I've been painting for at least 20 years on and off, but I don't feel I've ever learned base coating correctly until watching me. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. I just want to make things easier for you if I can. It's not that there's, there's a lot of things that have way more than one way to do them. But if you just keep doing it the same way you've always done them, you don't know if there's a way that might work better. So the gals who paint with me hear me say all the time, I'm trying to give you a painting toolbox, and that toolbox is filled with all of these things that could work for you. And oh, that's okay. But it's up to you what works for you. And it might be that you don't need them right now, but if you're paying attention, you might need them later, and then you know where to get them. So let's get these dried. Painting has given me some of my very, very best friends. It has given me a reason to travel. I travel teach and go all over, and in the mid part of September, I get to go to Buffalo, and I will be painting there a couple of projects with a group there, and so they're bringing me out, and it's always a lot of fun to meet new people and see old friends. And I just went to Oklahoma City for a convention. So painting is something that definitely has a big social side to it for sure. So now we've got these all base coated, and there's not a lot of detail to these guys that's not already there. But I had said that I wanted to brighten up these little feet, and especially the beak. So I'm going to grab just a little dry brush, and I'm going to load it in some Sunset Gold, which was the one I base coated the legs and feet and beak with the last time I painted these. And so I just wanted to try it with a different, a different approach. So I've got a little bit of that on my brush, and this is just a dry brush, so I didn't put water in it. And I'm just going to go from the edge and pull in and just put a little more of that brighter color on there. And I can go over that as many times as I want, but it will bring a little bit of brightness without it being like safety yellow. You can do these however you like, and I encourage you to, experiment with the color and stuff, because it is fun. That's part of the fun. I am teaching Barb the sunflower welcome sign that has sunflowers. It's fall. It's got sunflowers, and it's also got fall hydrangeas on it. And then I'm teaching the create board that has hydrangeas on it, and the blue jar that we did in Sparkle and Shine a long time ago in one of the very first sessions. So I know you were there. Dry brushing is something that gives you some quick results. It's not, always the answer, but man, when it is, it sure works well to just get a little bit of color and texture on there. And yeah. Hello, Barbara. Hi, Jamie. You're right on time. You're right on time. Things happen, and that's why we have recordings, and I never delete them off my page, so forevermore you can search them. Well, as long as we are able to have them here. So yes, I'm at the Snowbirds. That's right. Yep. I'll be there from Thursday to Monday, because they asked me to stay a little bit longer because they wanted to take me to Niagara Falls and show me around. So I'm excited to see all that too. So I do like those feet that way. It's not that I don't like the other ones, but just to try something, you never know until you try it. Oh, you might, Barb? Yeah. So, there we go. Alrighty, so now we've got all these parts and pieces, and what do we do with them? Well, there's there's various ways to put them together, but I'm going to be there the weekend of the 21st. The weekend of the 21st. So I'm going to start by putting together the tall one, because if we happen to run out of some time, the other one is exactly the same but easier because it doesn't have the legs. And so I want to make sure that you get to see the harder of the two for sure. Now with these, if you like, I did sand the edges on all of these, and then I put wax on them. You could use wax, you could use Distress Oxide, you could do it at this point, you could do it later. It really it doesn't matter when you do them, you know, that part of it, the distressing. So the sanding does, so I'm going to take my sander and just go around these pieces for the tall one, because I do like these sanded. I don't always sand things. I do more than I used to, but I do like it for these that don't have a lot of shading and so forth. I want to make sure I didn't have another color on there. And it helps to distinguish the pieces and make them stand out a little bit. So I'm just going to take this little gator sander and go around. I don't do every single edge or do all of it even the same amount. There we go. And I can get the rest of it. I'm going to do one of the tails too. There we go. So here's our little guy. I just got dust all over his face and made him look like he had been cleaned. What am I? Oh, I got something on my finger, and I keep taking it over. There we go. There we go. That's better. You know how you make a problem worse the more you try to fix it? That's just what happened. I'm going to give these little berries a little sand too. So these little berries are going to go on the holly. The holly needs a little bit of sanding love too. Okay, so we're going to just set that one up there. I've got Stick Fast that I put into a small bottle, and this used to have a little metal nozzle on it. However, when I closed it up, that little metal nozzle got plugged, and then when I tried to clean it out or put a pin in it, it shoved the nozzle in farther, and basically I had a mess. So I have new bottles coming that won't do that, but I need to use up. This is Stick Fast, and Stick Fast is a super glue basically. You don't have a lot of time to mess with it though, because it does what it says. It sticks fast. So I'm going to get that little beak on there. And I also want to put on my wings. And, you know, as long as they are slightly different shapes, but I don't honestly think it matters all that much. I don't think that anybody's going to notice that. I mean, they're so much alike. So if you want to be fussy, you can be fussy. So, but I just want to get this used. The other type of glue that I enjoy using for things like this is the Type Bond Quick and Thick. And the reason is that I don't use stick fast on absolutely everything is because sometimes it's nice to have a little more time to kind of play and fuss with it and be able to adjust. Whereas with stick fast, you really can't. So you can put these little guys wherever you prefer them to be. You know, it doesn't, there's no wrong answer here. I'm just going to put a little glue down. I want them a little bit wonky. There we go. And then we're going to let that set. And then I'm going to put together the little feet. So I've got one dowel. And I'm going to just, it really takes some muscle to get those in there. And you want to kind of twist without getting too, you know, you don't want to break them. But if you work real hard, you can get them in, and they might be a little bit out of there. There's a little bit of room, but not much. And then when I put them in there, I just give them a twist as I'm pushing and get them started. And if I can do it, I think most anybody can, because I've got rheumatoid arthritis in my hands. And it's hard for me to grip little things, but I got them. So they're not impossible to do. They're just, they take a little bit of, you know, messing with. So this should be, these are pretty, these are stuck. So that's a good thing. And I want to take this little guy and I want to put the tail on. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue down here at the base in kind of a triangle. And then I'm going to put this, gotta watch my time here. I like the tail being kind of long and beyond the head, but you could adjust it if you'd rather have your tail a little bit, you know, shorter. Just raise the body up on there. And then I'll pull it up. And then I'm going to flip him over. And now, normally I would do this next part after I've painted the back, because I do want this back part painted, but I don't need to waste your time with that. I'm going to get these little U's and get those ready. And I can always do these once, you know, I can always do the back once everything is dry. So I'm just putting a little bit of that stick fast on the back of these little U's. And I don't need them to be so, well, I guess these are touching. I didn't realize that. So you want these at the bottom, and I put them flush with the edge, like so. And I'm going to grab this, and then I put them just like that. Oops, just like that before I mushed them around. So they're right flush with the edge. And that's more for me than the bird. It's just to make sure that they're on there as straight as I can get them. Okay, so I've got them. Ooh, I'm going to show you. There you go. So they're just at the base of the bird. I'm going to get rid of this little guy and that little guy. And now I want to make sure that they will fit, and they are going to fit. And this is the one that makes me nervous to do stick fast. But we're going to do it. I know it. I know it. I don't want to waste that glue. So then you just put down your little leg and you work it into that slot, and it's going to be tight, okay? But then you'll feel it when it gets all the way in. And make sure the little bird leg isn't twisted the wrong way. You want it to be kind of, you know, you want him to have his toes pointed outward so that you have room for your other foot. So here we go with a little more. And I would, for this part especially, I would highly recommend something other than a super glue that grabs quickly. So I'm just pushing that in. You can even use, if you have a little pair of pliers, you can squeeze them. And the next part is my recommendation. It's not something that, you know, is probably for everyone, but I have little goofy things that I like to do. Hi Laura, hi Lucy, hi Deborah. Thanks for being here, you guys. One of the things that I use for anchors are buttons. And so I'm not going to do it right now because I want to get the back of it painted. But I'll grab buttons that go with the project. And then once these are drying in there, I'll put the buttons on top. And that will anchor them in there and give them more than just that little U shape to stick to. And so that's what I will do when this is all painted and ready to go. But other than that, there is my little bird. But he doesn't have his eyes. He doesn't have any of his other stuff. I'm just going to grab a little paint pen and test it out on the side. Make sure it's working. This is a Posca pin type. So it's a real fine pen. And so I can get a really nice fine line. But I don't want these eyes to look, you know, beady or anything. So I want to make sure that I could do this with a brush, but it's also okay to do it this way. The other thing I want is just a little bit of a highlight on the beak, like so. I think that's about it. You could put a little highlight on the berries with just a line and some dots for just kind of a glisten. But but wait, there's more. Then you get to do some other embellishments if you choose. So I'll give you a bird's eye view on that so that you can see the little eyes and all of the things. Okay, so you've got all that part, but if you look at these little berries, you might not have noticed the very first time. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. Hello, Regina. Thanks for being here. Remarkable Crafts. What a great name. If you look at these little berries, you can see that they're raised. And you're thinking, oh, how'd she do that? What is that? Well, I have a couple of ideas. If you like sparkles, you could use sparkles. If you wanted to get real fancy, you could use these little glass dealy bobbers. These are just little, I got them on Amazon, and they're just little glass cabochons that I'll put 3 of them on here and then hold it up closer so that you can see them. I don't know that the size is right for the little tiny berry, but you'll get the idea. And these are really great for embellishments, and they're Amazon. But can you see those little glass pieces? How cute is that? It almost looks like a water droplet. So, but that's not what I used. That's not what I used. What I used was a new product from DecoArt, and it is called Love Drops, Love. It's a new line of paint, and I had it out because I wanted to share it with you. I even moved it so that it'd be right ready for me, and I am, oh, snap doodles. Snap doodles. Where in the world? There it is. It was hiding, you guys. It was hiding. So how you do this, and it comes in a variety of colors. I know I'm getting low on time, but I want to show you this part. it comes in a variety of colors, but what it is if you've ever used the liquid glass, it's clear and it dries really shiny. Why is this not? Did I use someone else's? No. No, I don't think I did, but anyway. They don't have a ton of colors, but they have a few. And this one is the Cherry Drop, it's called. They have really cute names. Okay, I don't know what in the world is going on, but I can't get the bottle to work. There it goes. Maybe. I don't want it to come all out all over me, but let's get a toothpick here. Sometimes it dries in the nozzle. That might be the problem. There it comes. There we go. Okay. So what you want to do is get close to the berry, and you're just going to kind of flood the area. Run it around and pile it up on there. Now I know that looks really silly right now because it's pink, but when it dries, this is self-leveling. So think about, you can actually put this on wax paper and peel it off and add it to like your fingernails or whatever. But think about candies or gingerbread or any of those things, because that's the color I used on top of the red. Because it's transparent, it doesn't need to be exactly the same color. So this one is the pink on top of the red, and it will dry. It'll dry transparent. Isn't that great? Hello, Cassie's Farmhouse. I assume it's Cassie. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, everyone. Hi, Jody. I'm so glad that you're here. And it's just, you're going to have to watch the replay because you're just in time for me to say goodbye. My time is up. It is 4:44. Remember, if you'd like these kits, they are available on my website. But that's not why I share things with you necessarily. I mean, I make a living, don't get me wrong. However, I'm here to share hints, tips, tricks, all of those things with you. And that's what truly gives me, it fills my bucket. So thanks for spending time with me this Thursday evening. I appreciate it so much, and I hope you look for me again. I'll be on next week. And oh, I'm so glad you like it, Deborah. Thank you so much, you guys. Have a wonderful night, and if you like what you see, please give me a follow. Jeremiah Dreams is next, so don't go too far. Just refresh your page, and if you're not following Craft Round the Clock, please do so as soon as possible. So thank you, Barb. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Darlene. Have a great night, you guys. Bye.